Hey guys, welcome back. This is Lucid. I am joined once again by Maryland.
Hey, folks.
And yeah, we are back. It's turn 45.
That's
And
correct, according to my notes.
yeah, so we're going to, I guess, do a short summary of what happened last time. And then we're going to talk about Globals and Thrones before we go through our normal routine on this one. But I think, Maryland, if we get to the summary, a lot of it is going to be seeing how things shake down after the epic fight we had last episode between Vanheim and Pangaea.
I think it's a pretty quick two-sentence summary. Pan won the epic fight in a pretty solid way, and we are now no longer seeing a case of a single dominant nation. It looks like three potential contenders now.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's been a pretty epic change, and I have no idea how it's going to shake out. There's some important questions that are going to have to get answered, and that is, will Vanheim now withdraw from Pangaea, or will he continue?
Yes.
And this has made a ton more space because Pangaea has been ravaged by Vanheim. And Vanheim has now had an extraordinarily expensive stack just wiped off the board.
We cannot really see if Vanheim has significant reserves. I'm guessing they're not great.
He won't be able to make an army comparable to that and have it over there for a very long time.
Yes.
Because not only was that a very expensive army, but it was also positioned on the far periphery of his empire. So it's not like, he can make stuff and then consolidate it right there in the beginning. Now, he can magic phase and cloud trapeze, and a lot of his stuff is high map move, but still, I don't know. That's my opinion.
From a grand strategy point of view, this reminds me of my comments about, sometimes Dominions is like World War I fleet actions, in that in this case, we just had the Battle of Jutland, and Vanheim is kind of forced to go back. But what do you think? Does this free up Pan to take his Doomstack and split it all over and counter raid?
Right.
Or does he have to keep a solid core army together to deal with the next major threat? I'm tempted to say he should be keeping 2/3 or half of that together as a fast response force.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, he risks another siege of his cap.
Yeah.
And every turn he gets his capital sieged, that hurts.
Yeah, so I think this episode is largely going to be about what does that battle and its outcome mean for all the other nations. What does it mean for Ind? What does it mean for Ulm? What does it mean for Pelagia? What does it mean for Xibalba and Ashdod?
Well, Ulm in particular.
Right.
Ulm is one of the benefactors of that, I think.
Well, sort of. I mean, Pangaea is probably going to want his stuff back from Ulm, so we'll see. Oh, boy. So Ulm, it looks like, put up... Let's see which one it went.
This is the
Riches from Beneath. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Ulm is one of the few nations where I would put that spell up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge fan of that spell because I find you're still usually resource point or recruitment point, gold or recruitment point constrained. It is a rare situation where resources are your true constraint.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. It depends, I think. But it's nice. It's about a 30%. I mean, we can take a look at the income bump. It's normally about a 30% resource bump. I mean, income bump when you put it up.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
So, okay, it wasn't that much for him. For him, it looks like it's more like 15% probably.
10 to 15, yeah. It's still nice.
Yeah.
But Ulm does have low gold, very high resource
right.
troops, and lots of them, and they're good.
And they're very good, yeah.
Like Agartha has those but they're not much good.
Right. Yeah.
I've got an Agartha now, and they're pretty horrifically terrible. So what's the? So
Let's
we know
look at-
all about.
Yeah, so there's not much to talk about for globals. We've got
But
Earthblood Depot, which is 20 Earth Gems a turn. We got Riches from Beneath, which is using those Earth Gems to get income and resources. And we've got Mother Oak from Pangaea. That's the global situation.
We've hardly ever commented because Mother Oak has been up since turn 12.
Yeah.
18
Well, yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So it's more or less just been a background thing.
Right, and none of these are really game-changing globals. I mean, they're nice, but like the Gym Gen globals don't really change the way you play the game very much, unless it's like Nexus or something, It's like, okay, it's the same thing as if they found more sites or something,
I do have a strategic comment about this. We're now down to 2 slots left. So I'm locking down 2 slots for himself.
There's 3. Is there
3?
Yeah,
It's
there's 3.
6.
It's 6, yeah.
But I mean, we're now starting to see the slots fill up, which
Right.
means potential conflict over slots is coming. And that's strategically significant.
Yeah. And, there's Vanheim has been putting most of his gyms in his thugs. Pangaea, I'm not sure what he's doing with his gyms. He's been using, Vine Shield thugs and some pretty expensive thugs. But
Yeah, moderate 20 gold or 20 gem thugs.
yeah.
The center hierophants.
But it's very possible he's saving for a global too. And Pelagia almost certainly is planning on doing some global shenanigans. Maybe Maelstrom, maybe Arcane Nexus, maybe both. But
and he's been very cheap on gems.
Right, yeah.
Some cubes, a splash of gear, a splash of water gems.
Yeah.
Very conservative gem use. So he might be sitting on 500, 600 gems.
Yeah. So, oh man, that's a nice sight. Statue of the Sitting God here. Oh my God, entrance to the underworld. Okay, for thrones, let's take a look at thrones from an overview. We've got 3 in the hands of the elves. He's got the silver throne, which gives him these guys who are great air mages and astral mages. The astral part's really nice. The air mage is kind of redundant with what he can already do. Throne of Life gets some growth, and Throne of Bureaucracy, which is fine for Dominion pressure, but not otherwise very good.
Yeah, and then 4 for Pan? No, 3.
3 for Pan. He has Blessed Troops get MR +1. That's very nice.
Yeah.
The Golden Throne gives him gold and fire magic, which is really good for him.
We've seen that come out.
He's got the Throne of Knowledge, which gives you sages, which are excellent researchers, and it gives you lore masters, which can break you into any path and any cross path. But they're very expensive. They're 300 gold.
Yeah, and slow.
Yeah.
They're 4 commander points, so
yeah,
it's hard to use them to break into things. I mean,
yeah. If you're big and you have money, they're great to fix weird little small issues you might have. If you don't have a rainbow,
it can take a long time to get the ones you need.
Right, but they are not efficient at all.
No.
If you want research, you're a lot better off just getting sages. So.
Well, and if you need a critical path that you don't have, empowerment's more cost effective than they are.
Maybe, yeah.
That's been my experience. Well, it's a bit of a diversion, but if you remember, you and I had a team game about a year and a half ago. Geez, maybe that's a little more than that. I found lore masters, and of all the ones I bought, I think I ended up with one that did something useful for me, and it took 30 or 40 turns before the game was over. So the game was over before they ever became relevant. And I found them early. They were in just outside my capital circle.
I've gotten use out of them. I mean, a lot of times there's some weird little cross path item that you need.
Yes.
A lot of times if you're right, and then so I've gotten use out of those, and then, but there's a lot of weird ones. Like maybe you can't make shade mail, and you get the shade mail random, or you can't make clam of pearls, and you get the clam of pearls random, or you can't make whatever it is. But the other thing that's nice is they can kind of break you into some of the weird blood stuff. Like they can get blood water, and then you can get ice devils, or they can get blood fire, and you get archdevils, or something. So I think like if you need like a lot of different random things, you're likely to get one of the random things you need. If you want one specific thing, it's going to take you a long time.
Well, I would put this towards one of the concepts I try to use is I look at whether or not broadening your magic path diversity will help you win the game. And to me, one of the big issues is game size. In a little game, there just won't be time.
Yeah.
In a larger game, and this is a good sized game.
Yeah, it's a big game. Yeah.
That could be quite significant.
Yeah. Okay. For End, he's got the Throne of Eternal Suffering, which gives you order and productivity at the cost of Misfortune, which is pretty good unless you're Misfortune 2 already, because nobody likes going to Misfortune 3.
Or if you're already Order 3, Production 3, you get little.
Right. Outer Throne, we've got Magic +1 for him. That's nice. And 3 pearls. And then this one is the best throne he has for him. I would... It's probably more valuable than his cap, almost. I mean, not really, because you need your cap to get sacreds, but... anyway, this is great. 3 attack and then 3 fire. And then for Ashdod, he's got 2 thrones. One which gives him luck and 2 pearls. Oh no, 1 throne.
Just 1.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if, like, Throne of Misfortune and Throne of Death, I wonder if someone owns them and just isn't claiming, because they kind of suck.
This Throne of Death is the one over here, right near Pelagia and Pangaea.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at where these other unclaimed thrones are. Let's go through the claimed ones first. Alm has this one, the Inner Throne, which is nice. Order, which I'm sure he'll enjoy, and some Blood Slaves, which very nice for late game.
I'm pretty sure Alm has Order 3, though.
Oh, does he? Okay.
I think so. Order 3, Production 3, I think.
We should be able to tell.
Yeah.
Yep, looks like it.
Well,
he does now.
But if he had Order 2, we wouldn't know.
Right. Okay, Satis, 1 reinvigoration and the gnome. Okay, so I didn't actually notice he had claimed that. So that's cool. So he's got it forted too.
Right. Oh, we finally got it forted. Because we've watched people fight over that throne for the entire game.
Oh, and he can see mundane score graphs. So that gives him it's potentially a very powerful diplomacy tool.
I remember seeing the Birdsong Tower before.
Yeah. And then, here we go. Statistics, Thrones of Ascension. Xibalba, down to just 1 throne. The Iron Throne with the Add Up to the Iron Order. Still very nice for Xibalba. They have Earth access, but no, they get Earth 2s too, actually. So, maybe actually more notable for Xibalba for being Astral.
Being able to Sabbath up an Earth Mage is pretty handy if he can't do it otherwise.
I think he can. Yeah, he has Earth Blood, I think, that he can do. So,
but he can also use them for anti-magic or
right.
fates.
Yeah, I think it's more important for the astral part.
Those are sweet.
And that's it. We've been through all the thrones. So the Throne of Water, I want to know where that is, and the Throne of Misfortune.
There's the one south of Pelagia, between Pelagia and Jotun.
Okay, so this, on the border between Jotun and Xibalba, is the Throne of Water.
Okay. So nobody's bothered with it.
Well, yeah, it's a hard one. It's Springhawks and Zeus. So potentially he's going to do Fog Warriors on the Springhawks, which would be scary.
Yeah, there's a cheese on that one, but...
Yeah. But
I mean, the legit way to take it is you've got a plan for... I used a sandwich formation and quite a large army and then a lot of bots.
Yeah. Yeah, I can totally understand why people haven't taken this one yet.
But there's another method, which is try to wipe out the Springhawks with something with lots of lightning resist.
Yeah.
A thug that kills them off and then runs away.
Right.
And then come back once they're gone.
Yeah.
So there's, by this point in time in the game, if everybody wasn't fighting so much,
Yeah, I'm sure
that
they
wouldn't
could
be
figure it out.
fake. Yeah.
But
And where are the
it's
other
definitely one of the harder thrones to take in the early mid game without some kind of cheese you can do. And the cheeses for it aren't easy or reliable.
No, that round one swarmed by Springhawks, makes a mess of most stuff.
And we've got the Throne of Misfortune here, which gives you Misfortune and 4 pearls. And this one also has Springhawks, but mostly Enkidu stuff. And Anuki of the Sky.
They're almost identical in your problems.
Yeah. So people are avoiding the Springhawk thrones, which I'm not super surprised about.
No, well, and with war everywhere, nobody can afford to take a beating on a throne.
Yeah. Okay, so we're 15 minutes in. Let's go to the normal part.
And we've largely discussed grand strategic issues.
Yeah. So that went basically as badly as it could have gone. I won, sure, but first the Howcaster got sniped by Thunderstrike on round 2. My backup Howcaster got interrupted by my Pretender's Coldara. I lost another... Yeah. Well, we're never going to know that, really. I mean, we could maybe see somebody's going to cast Hal and then see that it didn't go up. I mean...
Yeah, but we can't.
Yeah, that's not realistic for us to figure out.
But it's funny, because...
Yeah, we could have noted that Hal wasn't up and wondered at why it didn't go up. My backup Howcaster got interrupted by Pretender's Coldara. I lost another adept to the same aura thanks to Frost vulnerability from Marble Warriors. Yeah, that'll do it. And I lost my S3... Oh, I guess he has the Frost Father, so that makes sense. And I lost my S3 to the duel in a duel to his S1. As a result, I lost a lot more White Centaur than I should have, and I can't afford those kind of unnecessary losses.
Okay. So he's a little more negative on his interpretation than we were. We thought, all things considered, that was a pretty good win.
Yeah, he had the advantage, though, of knowing exactly what Vanheim had, knowing mostly how it would be scripted. And I think the reason he's so negative is he went and tested it. And he knew the range of possibilities that could come out. And this was on the worst side.
He got in that 10% probability grouping of the crap.
Right. Now, to us who didn't know it, I had no idea how that battle would go. I was thinking, okay, well, how are the White Centaurs going to win if they really can hardly ever hit the Vans? Because... Sure, they have a ton of armor and they may have weapons of sharpness, but they still can't freaking hit them, But
with you, my pregame prediction was this is going to be a bloodbath and both sides were going to get pounded.
Right. But
it wasn't.
If you test it and you figure out how it's going to go, then you don't have to rely on just some obscure intuition, which may be very wrong. You can actually know kind of what the distribution is going to be like. So...
Like his second paragraph, this is what I was kind of getting at is what exactly is he going to do now? And I think we've got a pretty good description of his strategic plan.
Okay. Taking the armies south into the forest to both threaten Ulm and open up a gateway north if Anth decides to actually try something at the Throne of Knowledge. I was able to smash his army before Alt 7, and my god being in the mix... I'll mix in some Moonblades in case his Bahamut teleports on top. Okay. I think his Bahamut is now a white mage.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So the Moonblades aren't going to work there, but...
No. He probably didn't see that.
Yeah. Okay, the raiding game should be getting a little bit better since Vanheim lost so many thugs. He lost every single Van Jarl that he ordered to fight and melee. And only the Draught and the Prophet escaping with gear. The 6 Van Jarls that fled were ungeared. Between that, he's been able to send enough advance... between that and being able to send out enough advance and cast wizards to my provinces, I should be able to take and hold things steadily for a few turns. He'll have more coming out, of course, but I'll have charm up soon, and then life becomes good on the raiding front. That's true. Charm is a big deal for Pangaea.
Yeah, that implies to me that he's going to cost-effectively counter-raid. That's what I'm reading in there, is he's going to send out light counter-raids that don't put a great deal of risk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Satis is going to invade Ulm, but Ulm has adopted the pretty good strategy of using local production for each of his fronts, so he won't be pulling anything back most likely. Nevertheless, well, it doesn't even make sense for Ulm to pull back. Ulm is like Agartha in that their armies are so damn slow that what happens on one side of your empire doesn't have that much effect on what happens on the other.
The only advantage is he does have the ability to bounce his god from hotspot to hotspot. But beyond his god, didn't he get some air magic, some illusionists?
No, I think that's Ashdod has them now.
Ashdod got them, yeah. I thought I saw, Ulm just has
Ulm might have gotten them too, but the one that Jotunheim had, I think, went to Ashdod.
That one did, yes, that is correct.
Okay, nevertheless, even though he has subscribed to the Risk of Vaping newsletter, he's not doing anything fancy, and mages with slave matrices are fantastic dryad targets. Well, the thing is, slave matrices don't affect your morale, and you're not going to be a communion slave in the assassination battle. It's a...
I think he's talking about trying to steal some.
Yeah,
he wants to try
that's
to steal
true.
Some. See, to me, it would be easier to
they're nice just in the sense that it's, gear that you can take, but it's not like they're easier to seduce than other than other dudes.
No, not at all. I'm just thinking, wouldn't it be a little bit easier to buy them from home?
Oh, probably. Well,
I mean, your chance of successfully getting them is quite low.
Pangaea, actually, I think, at this phase in the game, really, if I were playing Pangaea, I would love a low commitment. What Ulm is doing with me right now, I would love. Like, he's actually, I think, in a great position for this, because the elf threat is mostly gone. I would try to peace out with the elves if possible. But having a low commitment fight with Ulm while you maybe do other stuff, just so you can steal some Master Smiths, would be huge. Yeah. Because imagine getting six or seven Master Smiths where you're now making 1 gem items as Pangaea. That is scary.
Yeah.
And that is worth... that is super worth it. So... any gear is a bonus, but I'd be willing to throw away a lot of Dryad lives for some Master Smiths.
You're making a really good point. I just read his phrase there. Mages with slave matrices are fantastic dryad targets. That sounded weird to me, whereas Master Smiths are fantastic dryad targets. Makes perfect sense, which is your rephrase of that.
Well, what I was kind of correcting here is that people may think, okay, if you wear a slave matrix, you're going to be a communion slave, and if you're a communion slave, you're passed out in combat. That's going to make dryads always win the assassination battle. That is not how slave matrices work. If there is no master that is present in any battle, then you will not be a slave. So that was just the one little thing I was making note of. But
I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Okay.
All
cool.
Right. So Pelagia really likes overgearing things, but in his position of invulnerability lets him get away with a lot of suboptimal play. He should be saving his gems for Nexus. Since Vanheim just got his army bodied, he's probably not going to contribute to the Dispel. It'll be a conversation, but Vanheim should be able to win without ever mucking about with Pelagia. And obviously, I can't let that happen. So I just need to straight beat 2 nations with more gem income than I probably have myself. Okay, that's a very... Pangaea, I don't know if he's... He certainly sounds like he's alone. I mean, he's been getting coalitioned. Life seems hard. I don't know if he has diplomatic outs to get out of the coalition now. He's not sounding like he's trying them.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And I guess maybe that was what I was kind of getting at is, isn't this a great opportunity to sort of make some diplomatic moves? Because now he's no longer the big threat.
Right. So let's take a look at Pangaea. Let's see what happened. Well, let's take a look at what N said. Well, no, we'll look at this bottom part first, then we'll go look at the N stuff. So he raids back here, it's just PD. He raids back here, it's just PD, basically.
But that's most of what's left of his white centaurs, where you just were. That was
50. Here, 50. And he's got, what, 20 here? 30? Yeah.
So that's the 80 we expect he still has.
Only put
That's
one
about
PD on his cap. Oh, but it probably has somebody patrolling. So a lot of counter raiding. Ulm trying to catch dryads here, probably patrolling.
Yeah.
Not
a lot else on that Ulm Vanheim front.
Let's read the end messages and then we'll do the end part.
The end front is a little more interesting.
All right, so last couple of turns have been good for me. Managed to put Agartha under siege with basically no losses, just 20-ish mages and 100 defenders left. Furthermore, the big battle at Pangaea has brought some balance back into the game. That's true. I've heard that so far Van and Pangaea have been pretty lucky in their 2v3v1s with enemies targeting the other player, while they got most of the land. Now they both have finally sustained heavy losses. That's also true. I think I have a pretty good matchup against Van now. Pan is still a big problem, mostly due to my bad research. However, I now have and can produce 3 Sacreds versus his 1. With Weapons of Sharpness, I should be able to win fights.
Okay.
Yeah, the other thing he's really got to deal with is somehow deal with the repel. Because he will be having to fight into that. But his troops do have pretty good stats. With Darkness and Area of Effect Luck, Alt 6, I'll probably trade cost effectively.
You have Dark Vision on his Bless?
I know he does. I don't remember if Pan does.
I believe not.
Let's see.
I think I have that.
Yeah, it does not. Does not.
Hang on, hold that for a second if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah. So
let me grab I'll just grab a quick snip here. Just take me a second. Okay, good to go.
Yeah, I think with Darkness up, because Darkness is going to... Repel is going to depend a lot on the attack and the defense stats of the respective units. And I think with Darkness up, that will negate a lot of the repel pressure. So I think going back to... I think In's statement is right.
Can we look at his Bless somewhere? Quickly.
Oh, probably.
There? Yeah.
Yeah,
I could just make a note of it.
Yeah, he's got Spirit Sight, which you won't see here, and then
hang on there.
Attack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Snipped.
And some of this attack actually is really high thanks to that Fire Throne he got. So. Okay.
In doesn't have any darkness in there. Or dark vision.
No, he does. It's he has Spirit Sight. It's just you don't see it in that that blurb. You see it on the unit.
Oh, right. Because it's an always.
Right.
Yeah.
It affects Sacreds, not blessed units.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Just need more research. Time for research. Hopefully the coalition will buy me time. I'm also pushing out myself. However, that push might turn into a defense if a defense in the department if Pan decides to focus me again. Okay.
I believe he means defense in depth.
Oh, okay.
He dropped the H.
Gotcha. Also, nap 3 with Ashdod.
Oh, that's pretty good for him, I think.
Okay, so looking at all of this, let's now look at the end Pangaea front. We have Pangaea raiding with Revelers.
Cheap.
And raiding with the higher commitment force. Not a lot of commanders. One of the nice things you can do as end, though, is you get a lot of these These cannibal warlords are very cheap. You can get them in every province. They make very good assassin chaff. Better assassin chaff than scouts, because you can get them in every province. They're actually going to win some assassination battles. Like an ungemmed something, like if the Dryad doesn't have gems, they're probably going to wreck them. And they've got 13 morale, which isn't horrible.
Well, and that helps with seduction. And
yeah. And they've got a javelin, so a lucky javelin. They can, hit a Dryad between the eyes.
Yeah, good call. Good comment. Because at 30 gold, that's 5 more than a scout. So
yeah,
heck of a deal. Heck of a deal. He's only got 1 in there.
Oh, and sometimes I use jargon, don't say what it is. So assassin chaff is basically what Maryland was talking about a couple episodes ago, where you clutter the total commander roster with stuff you don't care about, so that the assassins are less likely to hit stuff you do care about.
Just, dirt cheap magi, dirt cheap scouts, dirt cheap independent commanders, whatever is priests, independent priests, whatever cheap stuff just fills that screen.
All right. Okay.
It's one of the cost-effective assassin defenses.
We had some requests to look at thugs. We'll just look at this one, see what his script is. So, pretty standard thug. He's got an ice helmet, body armor, vine shield, and frostbrand. He's going to do iron skin, blessing,
up the cost of this guy
temper flesh.
Quite a bit higher than it was before, because he was running just before just the frostbrand and the vine shield, but this
is good. It's a little higher encumbrance with the good armor,
but he doesn't have to iron skin, so he saves a buff cycle.
Yeah, no, he did iron skin, I think.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, he
did iron skin, blessing, temper flesh and then hold. But his fatigue got up to 72. He's got 1 reinvigoration. I don't know if that's from... I wonder how that works with Blood Surge.
I think that's the one off the Blood Surge, because unless he had an Earth Gem, he couldn't have cast Earth Power, and he's got no reinvigoration items.
Oh, you're totally right. That totally is. I didn't know it actually showed up that way when you had Blood Surge active.
So that's a good
it totally does show up. Huh.
As long as the opponent army isn't very big.
Yeah.
That thug will not do well against
a
large bunch of PD.
It would tire out, so... and then he raids here. This looks like Arouse Hunger, which you can see even struggle... Well, not great against End, because End has these Holy 2 guys. I'm sure these guys got banished to hell. If End had 10 PD here, they would have killed this for sure.
Well, Arouse Hunger is a very cheap remote, although a value gent type. But it's only 4 death gems, so that's one of the cheapest.
Is it really that cheap? Wow.
I think so, normally.
I don't think we can see the remote attacks here because we're disabled.
But you had it right there.
Oh, did it show up?
There. Alteration. Yeah.
Here it is. It's 8.
No. I've been playing too much DE.
Yeah. I didn't think it was that cheap. 8's kind of expensive. I mean, not expensive, but it's a fair price for what you get. But
8 in death gems is pretty high value.
Yeah. And 10 PD would have just murdered that. And it's protecting, a 2-gem province, so... But okay. Let's see what happened on Agartha's cap. I guess I don't remember what happened last turn.
That's not Agartha's cap.
Oh, it's not their cap.
That's Agartha's last remaining fort.
Okay, last remaining fort.
Yeah. I mean, Agartha's done. He's got nothing left.
Yeah.
I think if you look at the army graphs, Agartha's
done. I remember that. We looked at that last episode. I won't even pull it back up.
Yeah, he's in the complete toilet.
Pangaea doing some deep raiding now. This is raiding he can definitely not trace income from. Eagle Eyes, I'm kind of interested what his script is. Blessing, protection.
Advance and fire?
I don't even know.
Eagle
but
Eyes.
Centaur Warriors are pretty good. Um, hmm.
The
So,
advantage of that is he locks down Ulm's recruitment for a turn,
sure.
or
Sure.
even a couple turns. So that's not such a bad thing.
Yeah.
Not a bad move at all.
Not a bad move.
So is Ind has sieged the throne. We're talking about Pan Ind.
Right.
So this is a pretty solid army. This is the one Pan was mentioning.
Right.
The Throne of Knowledge. So, does Pan decide to send one of his White Centaur armies here to deal with this?
They're not anywhere close. I think he brought all the White Centaur that were up here. They're all down here. I don't think...
Yeah, you commented on the White Mage, so there it is. There's the Baphomet. Turned into a White Mage.
Sort of Swiftness.
Oh, that's kind of an evil, miserable thing. Good grief.
Doesn't have a hat on. A little risky. You always... That's like... Especially with Curse. You get hit in the head, become feeble-minded or something. It's like the nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
I'd definitely put a hat on.
Well, it's got a natural crown, I guess. But
still. I mean, I guess he's going to do...
Their skin.
Yeah, their skin. And he's got pretty high natural protection to start with, but anyway, it's probably me being paranoid. Fire Shield, Quicken Self.
There's a lot of great hats that also give him various kinds of additional advantage, like you could get a resist out of a hat or an extra attack or whatever.
Yeah. It looks like they bumped with an elf thug. So we have the Virgin Elf with a Frost Brand.
Yeah, the dirt cheap.
I wonder how this is going to end.
Yeah.
The real question is, does this Pretender get afflicted? Oh, Fire Shield. Does he have... He has fire resistance, though. Yeah. Otherwise, that hoof attack would murder him. That's just the fear. Nobody even hit each other. Yeah. What a stupid fight.
I don't think the attack skill on that White Mage is very good.
Yeah, but he has sort of swiftness.
That's true. He didn't hit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, this is interesting. So Pelagia, this must be an Astral 3. Yeah, so he's teleporting in. This is expensive in a way. It's 15 gems.
And a nice bit of loot for Ind.
Does this actually work? Oh my god. See, okay, well there's only one PD here. If it's more, every time I do this, I swear to god, they just run straight past my water elemental and they murk me. It's horrible. I have found you need like 3 water elemental casters. Or I don't know. I'm probably just salty. But
yeah, but so many times Underwater PD has guys with 22 map move or combat move.
Yeah.
And that's the issue with jumping into the water. So what the heck is Ind using here?
Let's find out. So that's that same guy who's going to summon a water elemental, I think. Then 2 thugs with enchanted pikes and a bunch of attack, which these are basically little mini repel thugs. The thing though is they're getting a stat penalty, a fat stat penalty from being underwater. And if he's going to buff them, you would have thought he would have put them in the same tile. It looks like he misplaced them because I think the idea is you have these 2 in the same tile and then... Oh, no, they're all size... Oh, this is size 3. This is size 3. So, yeah, he misplaced these. These should be in the same tile, and this guy should be alone, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he could have done that a little bit differently.
Soul Slay? Oh, fuck.
Oh,
fuck. So, here's what happened. He couldn't do his normal script because before he had loaded up 2 water gems on this guy. He had the lens and a water gem, and he did water elemental. So now he's just strictly off script.
So does he get any of them with Soul Slay?
I mean, he's working on them. What kind of MR do they have? Only 14.
Got 1.
Only 14. Yeah, he's already got 1. 14 MR.
Oh my gosh.
Yoink.
Oh.
But the Earth Elemental... Already a loss for End. I mean...
But Ind didn't expect Pelagia to be there.
Why not? Neither of them
Because-
expected this.
Pelagia has done very minimal raiding against Pan. Very.
But this was
very
expensive. This was an expensive win for Ind. So Pelagia lost 15 gems, right? Ind has lost. These guys, I think, are like 8 to summon. They're pretty cheap summons. But the gear.
3 times 4, so that's 12 more gems.
Yeah, it's 20. Let's call this whole kit, because he probably had a hammer. Let's call this whole kit 25 gems. So he lost
20.
50 gems.
Yeah.
For 2 of these guys.
Well, maybe he lucked out and he got the astral cap. Maybe.
No, because he retreated. So he didn't get it.
Yeah. He retreated. Oh, good grief.
Yeah.
Retreated and died too, right?
Yeah. Totally died. So that's
a lot of gems. That's a lot of gems went poof.
Yep. Just both of the players were doing eminently reasonable things.
If we look back at the history of this whole tournament game, this is the 3rd or 4th time we've seen someone try to thug a land thug into the water and lose it.
Yeah.
Vanheim did it. We watched somebody else do it. Now we've watched Ian do it with 2 of them. People ask, can you thug take water? And the only one I like is Bane's because of their poison resist and other things.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the poor amphibian penalty just makes, or...
But that wasn't even really a factor in this particular one, because there was no...
It didn't.
This was just a mage bump, but
But you're right. That it weakened their repel design in a significant way.
Yeah.
And we've been just seeing this quite a bit, people trying to thug up to take water, and I think you're better off with just take some crappy undead. At least then if you lose it, you don't lose a bunch of critical stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we've covered Pangaea. We're getting to 40 minutes, so let's go and let's read Ashdod's message. In poker and Dominions, you have to maintain an element of unpredictability. This is full stupid YOLO. I think I can grind my way to a tactical victory over Xibalba, but would lose the game in the process, so we're rolling the dice, friends. If my preaching drops the fort candle to neutral or in my favor, I think this goes better. Solslay is online, so if he actually pops his god, then this goes better still. If none of these things happen, then I blame not testing this. Okay. So that sounds like we've got an exciting turn.
I really like his comment about the unpredictability. I tend to use the term initiative and maintain the initiative, but I mean basically the same thing.
Oh, buddy. All right, boys, bring out the popcorn.
Our unlimited power. Okay, nice name.
So here we go. On Xibalba's side, this is going to be the big battle for the episode, boys. Hope you're entertained. We've got a bunch of Camazotz, but the Camazotz are in cold. And that is going to be a problem. We've got some ways, some Camazotz, a lot of Camazotz, but they're in cold. We've got... Okay, now what would make an eminent amount of sense is to use these white mages here as the communion masters, and to use these guys, the Camazotz, who are old and are cold-blooded and cold, use them as slaves. We'll see if he does that.
They're gonna die. Yeah, just accept they'll die.
Well, I don't think there's any penalty to being... As a communion slave, these guys are just as good as anyone else.
You're right. And he can cast some reinvigoration. But with only 7 hit points, they sure can't take much.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't want to do... If you're... They're not a turbo communion. You've got to stay in the fatigue. Yeah, I mean, you don't want them going over 200 fatigue. But...
It's a touch and go, but... So what do you think he does? Well, we'll see.
We'll see. And then we've got a motley crew of distraction chaff, and then some...
That's his patented Frozen Heart line.
Right, and the Frozen Heart line. And then...
He's been doing that over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's very effective.
So this is a reasonably like mage heavy commitment from Xibalba. You know, it's probably about 15 to 20 mages, but very low troop commitment. But interesting layout and scripting and all that. So let's see what happens. On Ashdod side, we have not that many Anakites. We only have about, it looks like about 16 Anakites. No, maybe 20, because I didn't see this batch in the middle. We've got his god with a bunch of fire gems. I don't know what that's for. He has also, you have to remember, very bad research.
Yes.
Therefore, my guess is these fire gems are going to be turned into fire elementals, air elementals, and swarm, and maybe do anti-magic here at the beginning. Or maybe Light of the Northern Star, or Power the Spheres.
The interesting thing is last turn, he had this nice, powerful squad of 5 behemoths. He's down to 2.
Yeah.
So,
right, these guys did a lot of work.
They did.
He's got this guy who has been, his job has been to fluff the god in the past. And this has been his kit, but it looks like he's going to be using him differently. It looks like he's going to be doing Soul Slays now. It looks like he's going to drop Power of the Spheres and then drop pretty high precision or high penetration Soul Slays.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's got a Shaman Communion, he's got a Garnet, he's got a bunch of Slingers, he's got an Air Mage to do Air Elementals. I think this is going to be... Oh, a Death Mage?
As a master or as a slave? I think that's a master matrix, isn't it?
Yeah, as a master. I don't know what he's doing. I think what this is going to be, Maryland, is...
no, he said darkness, didn't he? No, that was
End.
Sorry.
I think this is just going to be elementals versus skeleton spam. And I think it's going to depend. If there's enough elementals, elementals win. If there's not enough, like a critical mass,
Skelly spam.
the skelly spam will win. But let's see. So starting off, we've got Hal, Quagmire, and Hal. So both sides have cast Hal now. Now Hal from this guy, I would have done Power of the Spheres first. Because being only Nature 4, casting Hal is a very high fatigue spell, and he has damn near knocked himself out already. And you don't get much from having Hal up turn 1 rather than turn 2.
It doesn't need to go up in the first round. Unless it's a dedicated Howl.
Right.
Caster.
I'm going to go ahead and put team-colored squares on.
Oh, yeah, good call.
For those of you who don't know, the hotkey for that is C.
Are those flaming arrows?
I think you're right. Those are flaming arrows.
Yeah, flaming slings.
That is also going to be exceptionally good against Skelly Spam.
Or it eats undead. Flaming slings.
Oh, we've got our first problem, though. These big fire elementals are trapped.
Whoops.
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, they are not a little trapped, Maryland. They are very trapped.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he needs them, I think.
Oh, but Ashdod is also putting up skeletons, and he gets the big ones.
Oh, right, because Ashdod, and I forget, okay, what is this communion situation? How many slaves does he have? 5 slaves.
Good. And 2 death mages with matrices.
I think he's going to burn his communion out. Because you can't support off-script, like multiple death mages off-script with somebody with no death paths for a long battle. They're dead.
You mean off-path?
Yeah.
Off-path and off-script.
Yeah.
And of course, his slingers are doing stupid things like shooting at wolves.
Right. Well, they need to, because the wolves will kill them, but yeah. It's not what you would... You wish there weren't wolves.
Blade win.
Okay, one of the fire elementals has made it out.
And another one's coming.
Another one's coming. So we have 2 that have made it out. These fire elementals are going to do so much work, though, but not against these Womuke, who have magic weapons and are big. Do they have fire? They don't have fire resistance, though. But he needs to get these fire elementals hitting chaff, not necessarily the Womuk. But this is a good position right here, because he's not going to be targeted. This undead will be targeted. Oh, no, they're getting hit down a little bit.
By the way, you commented about the Xibalba communion. I don't see any more skeletons coming, so that communion is done. It's run out of juice.
Oh, let's take a look at it. You know, it's one thing we didn't see. I want to go back, but
well, those slaves are starting to die. Did you see that? They're over.
Yeah, I want to see. Okay, so it doesn't look like he did what I said.
But that guy there, see?
He's not a communion. I don't know who. I don't think he did a lot. I don't even know if he did a communion. We'll go back and check. I don't want to go rewatch it to lose. Let's see how this plays out. But it looks like Ashdod has won it.
Yeah. One behemoth left. Still, it's not hard to replace those. They don't even cost very much. They just take a fairly valuable mage.
Yeah. God, that behemoth sound's gonna kill me.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. Yeah, I gotta do a wee bio break. Be very,
All right.
very quick.
No. No. Dog's chewing up the bed. All right.
Yeah. This was pretty one-sided. I mean,
It could have.
sort of.
Yeah.
It looked like it wouldn't be one-sided, but sadly, all of the, except for the white magi, I think all of Xibalba's magi are going to be killed
Yeah.
because they can't retreat.
I think what happened here is Ashdod, to do elemental stuff real well, especially like fire elemental stuff, which, by the way, they're a little weak in Cold 3, but you need some good line holders and distraction so that they can, because they're a little bit glass cannony. And Ashdod had that. You know, he had the Anakites in the front. He had Howl up to distract everything. He also had pretty good mage support. So we had Blade Winds coming out, cutting things down. We had Banishment. But I think the Communion has been burnt out now on both sides. Yeah.
I guess what'll be the giveaway is when we look at the summary. So
Oh, man. So Ashdod lost 9 Anakites. He lost most of his Anakites, actually. Almost all of them. He only had 4 Anakites survive. 3 Anakites survive.
yeah,
Lost both his behemoths. Lost a lot of his Bakemono. But he kept most of his slingers and most of his mages. He basically he had his shamans burn out.
it's very little for magi. The shaman are, I would think, well, moderately replaceable. I mean, they're an independent, so he can't buy them easily.
Yeah. And Ashdod Xibalba lost basically everything. He had 4 Camazotz survive.
I'm surprised that many got away. I didn't think that many.
All the white mages died, which I found a little surprising. You would think if anything was going to survive that, it probably would have been them. Let's take a look at what he did, though. We didn't watch his scripting very much. Just Horde of Skeletons, no Sabbath.
No, just skeletons. So every single one of those white magi is their size 2, right? So that's 10 death gems lost. On top of whatever else.
Actually, no. There is a very interesting thing, which is, you know how Kalem troops are size 3? right? And they have lower density. It's one of the reasons they kind of are not great in melee.
Most flyers are size 3.
Right. They get basically the way it is those wings are taking a unit that's normally size 2 and making them take up more space, so they're size 3. They're basically a human with wings, and so it bumps them up a size. Bats are a size 1. They're basically like Bakemono. And they've got stats that are very similar to a Bakemono. But the wings bump them up to size 2. And what's interesting is this mechanic is accounted for basically in Twiceborn, which is if you're one of the units whose wings bump you up to an extra size, you're going to have the cost of Twiceborn of the original size. So Calum and Xibalba both have -1 size cost for Twiceborn.
Okay, that's a really, I did not know that.
Yeah.
What a useful little tidbit.
Yeah. And
so that's a significantly lower loss
right.
in gems than I thought.
Yeah, it's only 5 gems to Twiceborn bats. And for those of you who don't know, the Twiceborn mechanic, they changed it. It used to be a flat 10 gems, and now it's 5 gems times your size. With the asterisk that for some flyers, it's actually less.
Yes, it's very expensive to Twiceborn Fomorian giants.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or Ashdod monstrous.
Right.
Or whatever. Or Niflheim, or,
Yeah. So, if we look at it, Maryland, Xibalba's plan here, we can see he's popping Reinvigoration this turn. He did Horde of Skeletons, and then they were right at close to 100 fatigue, and then he did Reinvigoration, which is a super common thing, and they did more Horde of Skeletons. The problem with that is you put out a certain number of skeletons, and then with your guys being cold-blooded and old, look at the spellcasting encumbrance, 13.
Yeah. So
they're basically done after their first. Yeah. They're going to get 6 Horde of Skeletons casts, and then that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Which, could have worked. Oh, man, these guys got routed too. No? Oh, they're running back. Oh, no. See, I think part of what he needed was, there's these hard anakites and stuff up here. I think he needed things to, punch through the anakites while they were protected by the chaff.
But that's not many troops. I mean, no matter how you look at it, that's a mage-heavy troop level army.
Yeah.
That's tough. Okay.
These guys don't have cold resistance. You would think the Frozen Heart would actually be pretty good on the anakites.
Well, I saw quite a few get frozen. It just didn't seem to kill them. Well, but you said he lost 10, so...
Yeah, they all eventually died, but...
I bet you if we examined it, they were killed by largely frozen. See, there's a guy chilled.
And the Wilmuke are coming in.
Yeah. Some of those anakites have taken some pretty hefty damage. Want some Ghost Grip. That's actually not a bad option.
Would have been an interesting script for Xibalba? If he did the same thing with the Horde of Skeletons, everybody doing Horde of Skeletons, Reinvigoration, etc. But at the end, on turn 5, he set up the Sabbath. That would have been very interesting, in my opinion.
I think he needed a Sabbath.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. I agreed with you that it you said make the white mages the slaves because...
Or the masters.
The masters, yeah. And so, I don't know.
Yeah.
Tricky.
But I think on the back, strategically, on the back of all the rating losses Xibalba has taken so far, this is pretty crippling. And, one of the silver linings for a lot of the rating losses he had was that a lot of them were on Twiceborn mages, and it would be really nice for Xibalba, a cold Xibalba, to get some white mages. Well, a lot of them are dead now.
Yeah. And we have noticed that, and we made that comment. I agree with you. So, and that's a siege, too.
Yeah. It's cracked.
Xibalba is in trouble.
I mean, what is he going to do?
Those are all kinds of little tiny armies scattered all over the place. I don't see any decent consolidations of anything.
There's nothing that's going to kick this army off, I don't think, unless his god can show up and somehow destroy it, which will be no easy thing. I mean, the silver lining here is all the Anakites are dead, right? So it's easier maybe to thug against non-Anakite stuff, but this Soul Slay, I don't think so. I mean, it's going to be hard.
The top right, there was a fight over in the top right for Xibalba. What the heck's...
Oh, I think he's just vulturing.
Oh, yeah, but
he needs that elsewhere. It's like, okay, you vultured, but he needs these troops in the south.
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And not only that, why would you want to irritate Ulm at this point in time?
It's kind of interesting because you watch this, you kind of get a flavor for like how the players, like, there's very, very different styles that we're seeing. And one of the things that the Xibalba player, who's being played by Stonetroll, well, he is the player. He's not playing the player. But he's very much like doing low commitment, pokey kind of things. And even his high commitment stuff with a lot of mages is sort of low commitment. You know, he's a very pokey, not overgoing in one place. He's got a bunch of little armies everywhere. You know, like he's got stuff over here. It's interesting. And I could totally see how it works. But it's just like, it can also not work, which is what we're seeing.
It doesn't look like it's working to me. Not against something like Ashdod.
Yeah.
Ashdod isn't even doom stacking, really.
No, he's not.
You know, look how much of Ashdod is still sitting at home.
Yeah. Yeah, I love he's got all these slingers, too. I really actually like it. I think for this phase in the game, they're not going to be great much longer. He needs to stop making them, but he's gotten a ton of mileage out of them.
Yeah, tossing them in with the flaming arrows, and he's using that,
and he's using them as patrol chaff for blood hunting and a bunch of other things. It's great.
Yeah, it's working well for him. Okay, I bet you we're running over time again.
Yeah, we are. It's at an hour. So that's Ashdod and Xibalba. We've covered Pan. Let's take a look at Jotunheim and Pelagia and see what's happening. So Pelagia not raiding at all on the Pangaean front, not attacking Jotunheim, but is amassing I would say, typical levels for Arco of gelatinous cubes. Ready to just murder Scrotty. But
Jotun has consolidated.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. He is. There's a lot of these gaudy Huskarls and whatnot in the cap. But it's kind of like asking to get raided. I mean, time is not right now on Jotun's side. He's maintained a stable size, but he only has one other fort.
But maybe he made some agreements.
Oh, but he can make hags out of the forest. So he's got effectively 3 forts when you look at it for mage production, because these are making a mage every other turn. So that's okay. He's getting 3 mages a turn.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not great. Pelagia is getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, potentially 7 mages a turn.
It's really didn't do anything this turn except one teeny little raid. Okay. Well, that kind of covers those 2.
And I can't remember. I don't want to miss the dying... Okay, no.
Well, the Great Cedar popped back.
Oh, it's disease. That's horrible. I don't know when that happened, but shit. It doesn't have regen, so any damage it takes is permanent. Is it cursed? It's not cursed. So it retreated, I think.
Oh, it just retreated.
It wanted to get it inside the fort.
Okay.
Oh, but what do you do? I don't think there's an easy way to get rid of the disease.
Wow. But with nothing but the Great Cedar left, because everything else died, the Yaksha Thug died.
Right.
Yeah, this is over for Bandar.
You know, he could maybe make a play of it. But with with the disease, I think the disease is like the nail in the coffin because it's permanent damage. Like, okay, you thug off one army, but it's going to get afflicted.
Is that an independent attack dome?
Oh yeah,
The air elementals there, just some indies. Oh,
Yeah.
Windmasters.
oh, it's the Mist-Covered
Well, that's-
Highland event.
Okay, that's just irritating, but
Yeah, but you expect that with this. For those of you who don't know, this site, if you ever get it, which is it's a very common site, but it's going to cause a series of independent attacks, and at the end, there's a chance. It's like a 50% chance, I think, that you get Translucent Tower, which gives you more air income and lets you recruit Windmasters, which is kind of cool.
a bunch of those event chains from sites. There's the Silver Sarcophagus. There's that one that generates the trolls that you had in the team game we played, which was unbelievably annoying.
That was horrible. That was really bad.
It just went on and on and on.
And there's no good silver lining. The silver lining for that one is not a very good silver lining. It's like you mostly just get screwed.
Most of them are just a nuisance.
Yeah. This one's okay. This one's very annoying, but getting air mages at the end is a very nice silver lining.
What about the Vanarus situation? What's left?
Oh, that's a good point, Marilyn. So, okay, we've got a thug coming out.
We'd have all.
But the Heartfinder, that's actually going to be pretty good against Ulm. I mean, not great, but, it's going to delete his stuff because most of it doesn't have good MR. Ooh, summons an Earth Elemental here. Earth Elemental is actually very good against...
It's flying.
It's flying.
Okay, so he made it fly, and it takes out... Oh. Maybe not.
Oh,
There we go.
Oh, there's another commander, though. But the Earth... Oh, it got both commanders wrecked. I think if the Earth Elemental made contact, they would have won this.
Yeah. Okay.
Very nice, though. Vanarus fighting back in the cap. He's just pinging it. He's going to see what's here. Knock, knock.
Yeah.
This is a scary ass Ulm army. We could look and see what he's scripting, but probably flaming arrows. Don't know what the nature mages are for. Probably Serpent's Blessing now.
Could be, or maybe he has a matrix on one of the master smiths.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. So we've got Sitis and Xibalba poaching a bit on Vanarus.
Yeah. Well, Sitis went and did more. Sitis is attacked here, but they've also attacked Ulm here.
Oh, so Sitis has attacked Ulm.
And they've taken this from Ulm as well.
If I remember correctly, he said he was going to, didn't he?
Yeah.
So what's Ulm got? A three-way war, or is it four? Three.
Well, he's got Bandar Log. He's got to finish off Vanarus.
He's got Sitis.
He's got Sitis and he's got Pangaea.
Do you think that Xibalba move was negotiated, or was it a bit of a poach?
I'm sure Xibalba just figured this was easy vulturing. I don't think it was negotiated.
Ulm has a lot of directions to deal with.
Yeah. Potentially though, Sitis is in many ways the logical next target for him. If I were Ulm, I would be looking to attack Sitis next.
Well, I don't think Sitis picked a good matchup, but I believe we discussed it. That does he have a good matchup? And
well, if he can gas Ulm, it's great, right? But Ulm has shamans now, and we know he's got high enchantment because of Earthblood Deepwell. So, gassing won't work. Ulm's going to deal, I think, with Skelly Spam pretty well. Wailing Winds will be annoying, but there's ways to deal with that too. So it'll be interesting. But I think it's going to be a very hard fight for Sitis.
Yeah, and Ulm has a lot of diversity. He really does.
But Sitis has to do something, and they can't do nothing. And their options are go after Ind or Ulm. So that's really it.
Yeah.
So, Sitis is going to play the hand he's dealt. And I think going after Ulm makes more sense because, in my opinion, Sitis is the logical next target for Ulm. And
Yeah.
if that is the case, it's probably better to go ahead and lean into it and start the fight early on your terms rather than wait for them to go after you.
I'm just wondering, can you turn candles on for a second in the Satis area?
Dominion candles, okay.
So he's not really pushing
No.
his Dominion. Although, yeah, so if he can push some of that cold out of the way, that'll make his life against Storm a lot easier.
Yeah.
But he'd have to be spending gold on some of his preachers, and he probably doesn't want to do that.
Well, he's got a great death income, which he's been turning mostly into long dead, it looks like, to get around some of the... I mean, like here he's got 80 long dead.
And that gives him something.
Yeah.
And good.
And these long dead they get are actually really good. With the trident and the bite, they're really nice, but some of the other long dead is worse than average, so it's a bit of a mix, but got attacked by knights here. Free Misfortune scales.
Yeah.
Which actually cost him quite a few gems. 3 gems a turn until he takes it back. But okay, I think we've been through it all. There's probably something we missed, but can you think anything you want to look at before we go?
We've had a brief comment on every nation, so I believe that is sufficient.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me.
Oh, you're welcome. Anything we should note down about to discuss next turn? Just a reminder, I can't think of anything too critical.
No, I think it's going to be... I think the world's in a state of chaos. Everybody's at war. The only people kind of not at war are Pelagia and Jotunheim. So...
Yes. Okay.
All right. See you guys then.
Bye, guys.